there. Welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews, and my goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so you can decide whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a particular film. So today, the movie I'm reviewing is called A Real Pain. This dramedy is now playing in theaters and is on Fandango at home simultaneously. Yay! It's rated R. It's an hour and 30 minutes. And my overall movie review mom grade is an A. I thought it was really well done. First, I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell. Then I'll point out things I like, things I didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about if you watch this with other people, funny lines, interesting lines, and we'll finish up with recommendations for other films that are also somewhat similar. So before I dive into all of that, though, I wanted to tell you about today's featured product, which happens to be one of the books that I wrote. This is a how-to book on how to research your family's roots and climb your family tree. I wrote it with my twin sister many years ago, and it is back up on Amazon. And by the way, you can click on the description below, and it'll give you the link where you can get it as a print book, an ebook, and an audio book. So yay. All right, back to the movie. Oh, and the reason why I mentioned that is because this book is all about family history, as two cousins actually go to Poland to learn more about their Jewish and cultural roots and to visit and honor their grandmother who survived the Holocaust and was from there in Poland. All right, so first of all, congratulations to Jess Eisenberg, who wrote, directed, and starred in the movie. Already the film has received 75 nominations and won 31 of them. And this is before even the big award season has begun. Yes, it has been nominated for Golden Globe Awards, and we shall soon see if an Oscar is to follow. The story is about mixed-matched cousins who reunite for a tour through Poland. All right, so let me share some tips for parents with you. First of all, there's profanity, a lot of F-bombs. I think kids are generally going to be bored anyway. The tour group sees inside the concentration camp while the tour guide explains some of the horrors that happen there. So that's no fun for little kids to hear about. Polish, I mean, if they're teenagers, then maybe, if you think they're up for that. But for young children, I think that's inappropriate. Polish is spoken a few times, but without subtitles, but it's okay because there's a translator that comes along and explains what it was that we missed. A man slaps another man a couple of times. Some of the themes that are illustrated very well are Judaism, Holocaust, Poland, pain, resilience, mental health, and remembering and honoring. Things I liked about the list include quite a few things. First of all, we get to spend some time in Poland. It's on my bucket list to go there someday. My husband has ancestors from Gdansk in Poland, and I don't know that they were Jewish. I don't think so, but I need to further research that side of my husband's family tree. In the movie, the characters visit their grandmother's home in Poland, which is the same area where Jesse Eisenberg's real life ancestors settled in Lublin. We get to learn a bit about Poland and its culture, and I always love that. For example, Kieran Culkin's character buys a traditional Polish hat called Highlander or Goral hat. It's traditionally worn by men living in the mountains in southern Poland, and it's pretty cute. We also see people eating zurich, which is a Polish soup made with sourdough bread, which gives it kind of a sour taste. To Jesse Eisenberg's credit, this is the very first time a narrative feature film was allowed to be shot at an actual German concentration camp where 59,000 Jews were murdered. You get to see inside areas of the famous Majdanek, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, concentration camp, which is just 2 miles outside Lublin. It's hard to imagine a bustling town of people living their full lives so close to such a horrific place back when this occurred. And the same is still true today. I mean, now it's a museum, like a living air museum, but people are still living in Lublin, and that just is amazing to me. Back when I was in college, I got to visit Dachau when I was visiting in Germany, and it was one of the very first concentration camps in Germany. I will never forget the images nor how they made me feel that day. The feelings are palpable. It's in the air. You can feel and sense what happened at these concentration camps. I've been to several concentration camp Holocaust museums, and I got that same feeling. The museum in New York City and in Washington, D.C. are done so well that you really do get that same feeling at those museums. It's powerful. Back to the movie. The cast includes, as I mentioned, Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, but also Jennifer Grey, Daniel Oreskes, Kurt Iguan, Ijiawan, I'm guessing on that one. Liza Sadovi and Will Sharp. Kieran Culkin absolutely steals the show. If his name sounds familiar, it's because he's the younger brother of the famous Macaulay Culkin from the Home Alone franchise, among other films. I remember when people criticized Jennifer Grey, by the way, when she got a nose job many, many years ago. She is aging beautifully and looks great in this movie. And it was really good to see her in something again. This movie is the film debut of Jesse Eisenberg's son, Banner. He's adorable. Emma Stone was one of the producers, and you might remember she and Jesse Eisenberg starred in the movie Zombieland and its sequel back in 2009. Jennifer Grey's character uses the word mishigas when describing Kieran Culkin's character that he plays. And I had never heard that word before, and so I had to look it up. It's actually a Yiddish word that means craziness or senseless behavior. And when the tour group gets all together, everybody thinks that his character is just, kind of quirky, but fun and charming. And pretty soon they start realizing there's something wrong. This is a troubled young man, and they don't know why. And so the cousin, Jesse Eisenberg, is constantly making excuses for him and apologizing for him. And we realize that there might be some mental health issues. And indeed, we learn that there are. We get to hear several piano pieces, beautiful ones, by the way, in the film, which were composed by Frederick Chopin, a Polish composer and piano virtuoso. And I thought that was such a nice touch to add that as part of the musical score. The British tour guide, played by Will Sharp, made an important point when he tells the tour group that it's not completely accurate to paint a picture of Jews being led like lambs to the slaughter. I mean, that's definitely true in many cases. However, many of them joined the resistance movement and tried to fight back in whatever way that they could. And there are many tributes to the Jewish resistance people and movies, in fact, based on that. I love the Jewish tradition of putting a stone on someone's tombstone to show that they are not forgotten and that you visited them in their final place of resting. There's a scene towards the very end of the movie when the two cousins try to put a stone on the stoop of the house where their grandmother lived 85 years ago, but a neighbor tells them not to do it because an elderly woman lives in that building currently and might trip over it. And I thought that that was such an interesting little detail. And Jesse Eisenberg later explained in an interview that he wrote that scene to show that time moves on, irrespective of our strong, flailing attempts to hold on to it. In an interview with Roger Ebert and on his website, he stated, quote, "You have to live in the present as much as you're trying to grasp onto the past." End quote. And I thought that that was a really good point. Very sensitive to be aware that while we're trying to honor the memory of people, that we have to be aware that there are living people that might be dealing with other sensitivities and such. There is some humor to balance out some of the heavy dramatic moments, and I'm always grateful for that. I love the triple meaning behind the title of the movie. Kieran Culkin's character is a real pain in the neck, a real pain, often leaving Jesse Eisenberg's character grappling with how to handle him. And then the real pain also has to do with the struggles that their ancestors went through during the Holocaust. And everyone in the tour talks about someone in their life and what they did and the crazy life that they had to endure during those times, as well as a real pain has to relate to the current pain that everyone in that tour group deals with in their everyday lives as they learn to get to know each other and reveal hurts and struggles. And I thought that that was just brilliant. Now, when I was trying to come up with a list of things that I did not like about the movie, I was really having a hard time because it really did touch me. I enjoyed it so much. My only critique would be that there are so many F-bombs. I'm like, I know that's how some people talk, but kind of toned it down maybe just a little bit. Now, whenever I watch movies, I also write down funny lines and interesting lines. I didn't write down any funny lines per se, nothing out loud, but there's a lot of subtle humor, I think. But I did write down a bunch of interesting lines that speak to the themes that are done so well in the movie itself. You can see all of these on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, but I'll share some of them with you right now. So as the very first day, the evening when the tour group gets together and they're introducing themselves, Jennifer Grey's character starts to reveal some of the things that she's currently struggling with in her life. And she says, I didn't expect to be crying before the tour started, on a tour like that, going to visit the Holocaust sites and talking about your ancestors who struggled so much, you expect some tears. And in fact, the tour guide warns them and says, this is tough. Today's going to be a tough day, especially when they go to the concentration camp. And then James, who is played by Will Sharp, he's the British tour guide, he says, this will be a tour about pain. And it absolutely is in many ways, as evidenced by the title. And then Jennifer Grey makes another interesting point when she says, we numb ourselves to avoid thinking about our impact, the impact that you're currently having on people or what you might have done to people in the past. That's even more painful. And then Jesse Eisenberg his cousin kind of just loses it and he takes off, and Jesse is left to explain and apologize to the tour group, everybody as they're having dinner. And he's, somebody says he must be in a lot of pain. And so Jesse Eisenberg character says, yeah, but isn't everyone in pain in some way? I mean, look at what happened to our families. Look at where we came from. I mean, who isn't, who isn't rot? And then I love this part where he goes on to say, I just take my pill for my effing, but he swears, OCD, and I have a job and I meditate and I go to work in the morning. I come home at the end of the day and I move forward, because I know that my pain is unexceptional. So I don't feel like I need to, I don't know, burden everybody with it. And I thought that was so interesting that he defined his pain and his struggles as unexceptional, which was absolutely true in the context of his ancestors who went through the Holocaust, for crying out loud. And I thought that that was interesting. And then another character says, oh, after going to the concentration camp, the tour guide says, how are you feeling? And he says, I feel shaken, but I guess that's better than feeling nothing. And this movie will absolutely make you feel some things. And I thought that it was just so well done in so many ways. So again, kudos to everybody involved with this project. Now, before we go, I wanted to introduce you to some movies that may have flown under your radar that are sort of similar, I said that word wrong or weird, in the fact that they deal with Holocaust survivors and remembrance. The first one is called Treasure, and that one recently came out. And by the way, I've reviewed all of these. You can click in the description below to find links to find them quickly. So Treasure is about another young woman who's going to visit Poland. I think it was Poland specifically, Warsaw, if I remember correctly, to visit her ancestors and learn about her Jewish ancestry. Another one is a very unique film. It's called Remember This, The Lesson of Jan Karski. It is a one-man show with an incredible acting performance. And I wish that he had won more awards. I'll let you see my review. You can also just do a search on my Movie Review Mom channel and find that one, and you can watch my review and learn more about that one. And then last one is a little bit of an older one called The Zookeeper's Wife with Jessica Chastain. Really great performances, really powerful as well. Takes place in Warsaw. And you learn about Warsaw, in particular the zoo that still stands today, that went through bombing and crazy stuff and released all the animals into the city. And anyway, just crazy, crazy. So if you are Jewish and if you have an ancestor who survived or lived during the Holocaust, you might really want to spend some time doing some genealogy. And again, I recommend my book, but you can easily go on to familysearch.org and start hunting for those names for free. It is the largest genealogical database in the world, and it's free for everybody, which is just amazing. Start with yourself, then go to your parents, grandparents, and then you'll find other people are researching those lines, and you can link your research together. It's amazing. When you get a minute, run over and visit me. I'm on all the social medias as Movie Review Mom, but also as Trina Boyce, where you can learn about my books, my online courses, and my other shenanigans. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.